any of them and where they're coming from and where we're coming from, and sometimes those are hard conversations. Again, not just talking about Nick. We have a lot of free agents who are huge parts of our success. So we'll do that, and anyone who wants to talk about anything, you can put this message out west, but I think they know it. We do that at the end of the year. We sit down and we just say, is anything on your mind? And a lot of times we get that perspective, but that's kind of how we want to be known as an organization and as a football team.
Is it a corrective in terms of placing the importance on your relationship with players?
Say that one more time.
Is it a corrective to the previous regime?
No, I think that it has to do just with our personalities, and just we like to communicate. It's important to have open communication, but you threw me for the corrective. I was thinking like posture.
Howie, you said before that any player that was tradable for the right price. I mean, someone now offers you. And before, teams have come to you and given you a lot of compensation for the quarterbacks that you've gotten some really good deals for. I mean, Bradford, for instance. How do you balance that? I mean, getting a great offer and versus the needs of your team.
Yeah, that's what we do. We try to balance on any player the offer we get and how we can improve the team and the certainty of what that player brings us versus the uncertainty of whether it's draft picks or bringing in a guy from another place. That's every decision we make. We try to weigh the pros and cons of it. But there are certain positions that are different for us, and certainly the quarterback position is different for us. And when we started this thing with Coach Peterson, we said we were going to go 3 deep at quarterback. It hasn't been perfect, certainly, in the last 2 years that we were 3 deep, but we feel that way, and it gives us a lot of comfort knowing that when we look at that quarterback depth chart, we have a franchise quarterback, we have a Super Bowl MVP, and we have a young developing player. I don't know that there's anything more important.
At this point, did you know the severity of Alshon's shoulder injury when you were negotiating the contract with him, or when did you find out that it was actually a torn?
Without going into specifics on any injury of any player, for us, Alshon practiced every day during the regular season. He played in every game. We had a long season. We had 19 games, and he was even better at the end. So, it was not an issue for us, and we anticipate him being on our team for a long time going forward.
You don't feel he hid it from you or anything?
Again, I don't want to go into medical, but there's no issue with any relationship with Alshon Jeffrey.
At this point in the team-building process, do you still want to be active early in free agency, or is it really retaining your guys and drafting and developing?
Well, active early in free agency with the tampering period is different because it's not like you wait. We've signed guys on the first day of free agency who are minimum salary benefit guys. So you're still signing guys. It just may not be at that level. But, from our perspective, we have to find a way to get better. We have to improve our football team. We understand that nothing's given to us in 2018. If we just kind of say, hey, we're just bringing everything back and we're going to do everything the same, we're going to get our ass kicked. And we're not looking to do that. We're looking to improve. That's why we're here. That's why we spend the time during the season with our scouting staff led by Joe doing those things. And that's where we are right now. We're taking it like we're the same record as every other team in the league, and we have to find a way to get better.
So what areas must get better?
I'm not going to give you the answers to the test, Zach. That wouldn't be any fun.
I'm sure you've heard from a lot of teams around the league, and you see it every year. A team wins the Super Bowl, and everyone wants to follow their blueprint. What have you heard specifically, and specifically in regards to Doug's aggressiveness and the use of analytics?
I would say, Coach has done an unbelievable job of kind of putting his foot on the gas and having trust in his players. And I can't really speak, most of my conversations, other than just kind of quick conversations with coaches in the league, are with more front office people. And so, we're mostly talking about personnel, but tremendous amount of respect for me personally, for him, and his ability to make those calls and to do that. I mean, you're in the biggest game of your life. It's 4th and 1. It's before halftime, and you're calling that play. I mean, you just go, wow. And when you do something like that, even if it doesn't work, you're basically telling the team, like, I believe in you. I know you're going to get it done, and I'm going to put you in position to do that. And I think a lot of our success this year was based on that kind of mindset and that attitude. When you lose the amount of players we've lost, for our players to go out there and have that mindset is a reflection of our head coach and the rest of his coaching staff.
Howie, with the need for draft picks and cheaper players, will you factor in compensatory picks in terms of letting players walk in free agency, and then also not signing guys to kind of cancel those guys out?
We have so many free agents at this point. I think it would be almost impossible for us not to get compensatory picks. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. By the same token, when you're looking at the compensatory picks, it's hard to get high picks as compensatory picks. So you have to balance, can this player help us for a period of time versus the unknown of, am I going to get a fourth or a fifth? We all have the formula. So I think that's the hard part. There's also a limit on how many compensatory picks you can get. So all of that is part of our plan going forward, but I don't think it's going to affect our strategy just because of the amount of free agents we have, and that naturally some of them are going to leave.
In the past, you've spoken about the value of those lottery tickets, so to speak, having more picks. Are you willing to sit out night 2 of the draft, or is that something you want to aggressively address?
Am I willing to sit out night 2? I mean, if there are options to not sit out night 2, it would be better than the big calendar in our office led by Joe and Andy that says golf outing Friday. That would not be good. So we are definitely going to try to be active and get more picks, but it's not like we could just demand it from one of the other 31 teams. Hey, we don't have a third-round pick. Can you please give it back?
There are avenues, whether it's trading back, trading players.
There are avenues, but those avenues take two. So you can have a goal, and I'm not saying we do have a goal. You can have a goal of saying we would like to get more picks. We would certainly like to get more picks in this draft.
You've talked about skyrocketing salary.
I'll come back.
Your thoughts on Chris Maragos? I know, obviously, it was hurt this year.
From the Wisconsin paper.
Yes,
paper.
exactly.
Yeah.
The only reason, right?
I mean, without respect to Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, unbelievable leader on our football team. A guy who didn't play for a large portion of the season, but was working as hard as anyone, helping the special teams from a preparation standpoint. 2-time world championship, unbelievable character. Nothing but positive things to say about Chris Maragos.
What's your plan for, Vinny Curry? You have Derek Barnett in the barn. He's obviously ready to start. He's going to make a lot of money this year. What's your plan?
We're going to continue to invest in our defensive line. We feel very confident that for us to be successful on defense, it has to be waves of defensive linemen, that those guys come in fresh, that their fastballs off the edges and inside. And you saw, certainly a turning point for us in the game was that we couldn't get home, and then at the end of the game, BG got home, and that's he wasn't playing 90% of the snaps, and he had fresh legs at the end. So that's always going to be a priority. I'm not going to get into specifics about any player, but we're not going to have less resources on the defensive line. That's something we're always going to commit huge resources.
How difficult would it be to go forward without Nigel Bradham into 2018?
Well, Nigel was a tremendous player for us, and he was put into positions this year that he hadn't been in the past, and he did a great job. But this is the ultimate team game. If you would have told me last year that we were going to go the majority of the season without Carson Wentz, Jason Peters, Darren Sproles, Jordan Hicks, Chris Maragos, Caleb Sturgis, and we all had to put our predicted record in there, it wouldn't have been good. And I think that's a great learning experience for all of us. It's about the team, and it's about building the best team you can. And so we're not going to just be an empty vault for any of our players right now. We just don't have that flexibility.
I get why you're not giving us public timetables, but as you put this roster together, the health of Carson, of Jordan Hicks, of Jason Peters, do you need to assume they're going to be there this season, be there week 1, or is it? How do you navigate that?
I'm not giving public timetables, but clearly we have those discussions. So we have a sense of every single player who was on IR, of when they're going to come back, when they're going to be ready, how they're doing in that process. It just doesn't serve us to make an announcement on that at that time. That wouldn't be fair to the player or really our team and the competitiveness of our team.
You talked
Peduzzi stepped down, and what did the? Go ahead.
You talked about Jason Peters before, and how everybody was always expecting it to be the end for him. But when you project to the future, do you still think about Lane maybe as a left tackle, or how did Vitai's performance change that calculation?
Yeah, he kept getting better, as he moved forward, and it's interesting because when you look at this league, and certainly our schedule this year, there's this perception, kind of maybe not perception anymore, but certainly the preconceived notion was the right defensive ends are the pass rushers, the base defensive ends, the left defensive ends are more of the run stoppers, powerful guys. But when you look at who we played this year, the left defensive ends are explosive, as twitchy as the right defensive end. So it's guys, and it's on our team too. So you need 2 tackles. The days, obviously there's a blind side, but the days of just, hey, your left tackle is going to be athletic and your right tackle is going to be a power guy, Trey and Runyon like we had, are over. And we just need to have two really good tackles and play at a high level. And luckily for us, right now, we feel like we have three. So.